Have you been vaccinated? She said, no. I said, may I ask why? She said, you can ask, but I don't have to give you a reason. I choose not to. Isn't this still America? Do we still have freedom? Do we still have rights? Now, Gavin Newsom has said every state worker who's not been vaccinated will be tested once a week, and he or she will have to wear a face mask at work. Now think about it. I thought the whole point behind getting vaccinated is that you're protected from people who've not been vaccinated. So you're telling somebody who's assumed the risk of contracting the coronavirus, you're going to wear a face mask to protect yourself from other people who've assumed the risk, and I'm anti-science? To the extent that there are mandates like this for state workers when I become governor, I'm going to repeal them before I have my first cup of tea. All sorts of issues have come up in this campaign that have nothing whatever to do with what we're talking about here. We're talking about crime. We're talking about the rise of homelessness. We're talking about the way this man ignored science and slammed down this state in the most draconian way compared to all the other 49 states. We're talking about kids being denied a whole year of in-person education. We're talking about forest mismanagement, water mismanagement. But they're bringing up all sorts of issues. The LA Times the other day called me the black face of white supremacy. Don't boo, I worked hard for that title. The black face of white supremacy. And the reason for that is because I dare to say that racism is no longer a major problem in America. It's a lie. It's what the left does to divide us because they want to scare black people and they want to scare and guilt trip white liberals into pulling that lever for them. Racism has never been less significant in America. Never. 2007, Gallup did a poll when Obama was running for the nomination against Hillary on the Democratic side, and did a poll when Mitt Romney, a Mormon, was running against John McCain, who would have been 72 years old had he become president on the Republican side. And Gallup wanted to find out who had the biggest hurdle in becoming president. So they asked Americans, what percentage of Americans would never vote for a black president? 2007. 5% said they would never vote for a black president. What percentage of Americans would never vote for a female? 11%. What percentage would never vote for a Mormon, referring to Mitt Romney? 24%. What percentage of Americans would never vote for somebody who would be 72 years old when he became president, referring to John McCain? 42%. Wow. So Obama had a lower burden than these three white politicians. Knock it off. Knock it off. Knock it off.
Yeah, baby.
I haven't been on CNN in a while. I was on the Michael Schmirkanish show a few days ago. And before that, I had not been on CNN for 4 or 5 years. I think one of the reasons is one of the last times I was on the Don Lemon show. Hey, come on. Somebody's got to go on there. And the topic was racism. And I said, Don, you know, CNN teamed up with Time Magazine back in 1997. That's 24 years ago. And they asked black teens and white teens about racism. Are you aware of that? I clearly didn't know. He didn't know about it. And I said, black teens and white teens were asked, is racism a major problem in America? And not too surprisingly, both said yes. I mean, they're bombarded with this kind of nonsense every day. But then Time and CNN did something I'd never seen done before. They asked black teens, is racism a big problem, a small problem, or no problem in your own daily life? 89% of black teens in 1994, this is before Obama got elected and reelected, 89% of black teens call racism a small problem or no problem in their own daily life. In fact, more black teens than white teens said, and this is verbatim, and because CNN is here, I'm going to speak slowly. More black teens than white teens said, quote, failure to take advantage of available opportunities is a bigger problem than racism. Knock it off. Knock it off. Knock it off. We believe in Martin Luther King's dream of content of character, not color of skin. Knock it off. So I'm talking to a black reporter, and I'm coming in, and I can tell by his body language, he's not feeling me. You know, I'm a sellout, I'm an Uncle Tom, I'm somebody who doesn't believe racism is a major problem in America. And I said, don't we want the same things? Don't we want people to realize their God-given potential? Aren't you upset that 75% of black boys can't read at state levels of proficiency? I said, I went to Crenshaw High School. Only 2% of the kids are math proficient. Aren't you bothered by that? Aren't you bothered by the fact that the teachers union is stopping you from escaping poverty because the number one route to leave poverty is to finish high school? One, presumably, where you can read, write, and compute at grade level, and I'm the bad guy? And I said to him, all right, let's do this. He was getting on me about systemic racism. I told him about the studies showing the police, if anything, are more reluctant, more hesitant to pull the trigger on a black suspect than a white suspect. He didn't want to hear about it. I said, all right, let's do this. Join with me, let's do a mind experiment, okay? Get out your magic wand, I said to him. Wave it over America. Let's remove every smidgen of racism from the hearts of white America. Now, everybody white thinks like Mother Teresa, okay? Everybody white now thinks like Mother Teresa. I said, do we still have the phenomenon where 70% of black children enter the world without a father married to the mother? I said, forget about elder. Barack Obama once said a kid raised without a father is 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. Tupac Shakur once said, I know for a fact that had I had a father, I would have been more disciplined, I would have been more confident, end of quote. I said, do we still have that phenomenon? I said, do we still have the phenomenon where the number one cause of preventable death for young white men is accidents, like car accidents or drownings? Do we still have the phenomenon, I told him, where the number one cause of preventable death for young black men is homicide, almost always at the hands of another young black man? Do we still have the phenomenon where of the 15,000 annual homicides in this country, half of them are black victims, even though blacks are just 13% of the population, and almost all of those victims are killed by other blacks? Do we still have the phenomenon where a young black man is 8 times more likely to be murdered than a young white man? If the answer, I told him, to that series of questions is yes, then I submit to you, sir, that systemic racism is not the problem and critical race theory and reparations are not the answer. Knock it off. So, we've got to get rid of Gavin Newsom. Vote yes on recalling Gavin Newsom. We need 50% plus 1 to vote to recall Gavin Newsom. Be sure you sign your application. If you sign your ballot, if you don't feel that you can trust the media, the mail, you can follow it online, or you can drop it off at a voting center and get 10 of your friends to vote yes on the recall. And then I have a thought or two as to who should replace him when he's recalled.
You got this, Larry!
Thank you.
You got
Thank
this!
Thank you.
You got this!
You know, all these issues that they bring up, they have nothing whatever to do with anything. They asked me about my position on abortion. I said, I'm not lying about it. I'm pro-life. I'm sorry. You know what they never asked? They never asked Gavin Newsom, at what point has a pregnancy gone too far? They never asked that. They never asked Gavin Newsom, are you in favor of 3rd trimester abortion? They never asked that. I always ask the question. They always ask it of conservatives, never ask liberals. How far is too far? Never do you get that question. And the reason they're doing that is because they can't defend his record. Senator Warren came out and cut a commercial for him. Talked about this being a Republican takeover. I mentioned I was on the Michael Schmerkanis show, and he introduced me as a Trump supporter. I said, Michael, I'm a Republican. I haven't voted for a Democrat since 1976. That was Jimmy Carter, and I regret that. Why don't you call me a Mitt Romney Republican, or a George W. Bush Republican, or a George Herbert Walker Bush Republican? No, you're saying Trump Republican because you believe that Donald Trump is a 4-letter word in some places. I'm going to vote for whoever the Republican nominee, whoever he or she is, in 2024. I'm a Republican. Am I supposed to apologize for not wanting Hillary and Joe Biden to be president? Am I supposed to apologize for wanting low taxes, low regulations, and a strong national defense and secure borders? Am I supposed to apologize for that?